Well, good day. It is Monday. It is the triple option. I am Paul Catalina, and starting tomorrow, we're doing it today. Today's the test run. But starting tomorrow, we're going to be broadcasting this on two different channels, one of which will be the triple option channel. So all of the triple option content will go to the triple option channel. So we're very excited about that. And I will tomorrow, once artwork and all those things are done, I will direct you to that one. So I appreciate you guys watching on whatever channel you do, but we're trying to reach new heights and new audience.
Got to grow, man.
Got to grow. Yeah, we got to grow. So it's time to do that. We've been doing this show for a year. And look, if I want to really become the one true triple option, I have to be on my own YouTube channel.
You have to be.
I have to be. Look, if I'm going to take down the evil empire that is Urban Meyer and anybody who's in his circle, you know, it's just how it's going to be.
Got to.
You know, it's a goal of mine in life.
It should be. It should be everybody's goal. Take down Urban Meyer.
It wasn't like a goal. I was just going to, you know, despise him from the sidelines. But now
He made it personal.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. They put one of ours in the hospital. We put one of theirs in the morgue.
Coming for you.
Yeah. That's from the Untouchables. No one in this room has seen the Untouchables but me, I think. Emery's my best shot. Nope. No way Jack has seen the Untouchables. Garrett, the Untouchables?
I don't think I've seen it. I should, but I don't think I have.
Chat, Untouchables? Untouchables?
With you.
Somebody help me out here. Great movie. Kevin Costner, Sean Connery, Robert De Niro, about Al Capone. Mm-hmm. So, anyway, by the way, Xavier Roll said SMU is the best team in Texas.
I don't know about that, Xavier.
I'm going to debate that.
I don't know about that.
I think they're one of the better teams in Texas.
They might be the third best team in Texas.
I'll say they're the third best team behind
say that. Thank you. Third
Texas
best team.
and A&M and whatever order you want to put those two in. Look, Notre Dame, look, Texas's losses to Georgia, who's really good. Georgia's losses to Alabama, who's okay.
Alabama sucks.
Yeah. We'll give them okay. A&M's losses to Notre Dame, who's really good. Look, Navy's a really good team, and they put up 51 on them the other day. Like that, I knew they were going to beat Navy.
Yeah.
I didn't think they were going to take them apart. They took them apart.
I was kind of waiting for somebody to do that. I don't think I was expecting that extreme, but pretty close to it.
Yeah.
Navy and the Army were going to get theirs at some point.
Yeah. So, we'll see. Yeah, I don't know. Army, Navy still just waiting for it. And they both might have losses to Notre Dame, and that's it when they play.
Very well could.
Very well could. Other things I noticed this weekend, Oregon, holy cow. They're beating a ranked team that's good. Illinois is tough. They're a tough out. Ohio State got really scared against Nebraska.
Yep.
And, some of those calls go a different way. I'm not blaming the officials, but, that was what Matt Rule was, very impassioned after the game, where he's like, this is where I saw the championship mindset. And it's almost like you had to burn it down last week against Indiana and be like, that's as bad as you guys can play.
Right.
Because they're better than 56-7.
Oh, yeah.
They're better than that, and they showed it this week. Now, I never thought they were going to win the game, but when they had the ball late, and then true freshmen are going to do true freshman things. That's what Dylan Raiola did. But I'll tell you, the trajectory I see them on? I see them – they remind me a lot of Iowa State last year where – you could see the good things, but then when they play teams that,
exposed
could kind of get over on them, that's what happened. But then all of a sudden they learned, and now they're dang near unstoppable. I see a lot of that with them, and Matt Rule and Matt Campbell have a very similar coaching style, and they appreciate a lot of the same things. So I expect to see a huge jump from Nebraska next year.
Well, I think they've already made a significant jump from where they were the year before, and it's only going to get better. But, yeah, I think there's a lot of you could kind of pick apart Raiola's game if you want to be a hater, and I've seen some people do that. But at the end of the day, he is really, really good, and the mistakes he makes are just him trying to make a play really for an offense and a team who really hasn't been able to do that. I think if they could get more consistency from Nayor to help him out, that would help. But yeah, Nebraska's going to be fine. They're going to continue to grow. And we know Rule, once he gets his hands on his type of guys and gets them in there to develop, it's going to take a couple of years. But they got the right trajectory going for them right now in Lincoln.
Yeah, no, I love it. I think what we see there is really quite.
And I think it also helps like with how the Big Ten is shaping up and how it's starting to become like more wide open and not just one team. It's got to go. You got to go through Ohio State. Like that's going to benefit them as well.
Yeah. No, I think they're going to be very, very good. I love a lot of things I saw this week. Lots of fun games. TCU and Tech was a great game. I didn't get to see any of it because it was going on at the same time as Baylor and Oklahoma State, and I was there this week. I'll be at a Baylor game 2 weeks in a row for the first time in 2 years. So, but yeah, I was at the Baylor game. We'll talk about them in a second. But TCU to come back, and Tech is now – man, Tech's got to be – they've got to feel really rough about the last 2 weeks.
Well, it sucks. And once again, it comes down to you just cannot keep your quarterback healthy. Baron Morton gets banged up, and it was nice to see Will come in and do his thing. But at the same time, like, I don't know what their issue is. I don't know if you got to recruit better or along the offensive line. But that's starting to become a major problem up there in Lubbock. And I'm honestly wondering, like, how long is it going to take before – the temperature and the questions start trickling in on Joey, because that was 2 back-to-back horrible losses for them.
Well, look, they were in control of that game. Will Hammond came in for an injured Baron Morton, was dealing for a while. And then the defense just couldn't stop. I mean, you give him an 86-yard touchdown or whatever it was to give up the lead, and then TCU's defense held after that. Like, man, I don't know. Those are demoralizing wins because they shouldn't have left that one on the table.
No, and those are 2 programs that you've just lost to that you're regularly recruiting against. Like Baylor, TCU, and Tech recruit all the same players, and that's just a terrible look for that program, and that you can't afford to do that, especially when you're trying to build something and sell the message. Those are 2 terrible losses you can't have.
Yeah. By the way, Friday night, the Boise State UNLV game lived up to it. It certainly did. But if keeping Ashton Jeanty to 100 and – let's see, hold on, I'll tell you in a second. If 128 yards rushing and 3 catches for 11 – so about 139 yards on 36 touches, if that's keeping him in check, then that's still not good news for anybody else who has to play him.
No.
You know, his worst game is a game that most running backs would kill for.
Yeah.
If you went 33 for 128 and anybody but Ashton Jeanty right now, you're like, man, what a game. Like, I feel good about myself. I'm confident. Ashton's like, I could have done better.
He could have.
I'm 100 yards below my average. This is, they did a great, like, when you can turn around and say they did a great job on Ashton Jeanty and still gave up 128 yards rushing to him. That's saying something right there in a fantastic game that was on Friday night. Mm-hmm. But I want to make sure we mention that one because that affects the playoff. Boise State
absolutely does.
Yeah, Boise State right now, if they can keep it pointed in the right direction, they're going to be the G5 representative.
They are, but at the same time, like I think you can't sleep on Tulane. Like what they're starting to find themselves a little bit as well, and things could open up, but I feel like right now it's definitely them and Boise. The thing with I think Boise's schedule to finish out is easier than Tulane. You're not going to have to face the service academies and stuff. But at the same time, like they're not going to, and as far as Ashton, like he's not going to face another defense until the bowl game that can even contain him as much as UNLV did. So what his numbers are what he's going to be able to put from a numbers perspective is going to be fun to watch.
Yeah. Man, El Ringon, he tried. Diego tried, man. Texas, gosh, I am sure that, again, another one I didn't get to see, but, 46 seconds left, they score that touchdown. I am sure that, like, the most nerve-wracking onside kick in Texas history right there, but just took too long. And they hung around. It's the fourth quarter. Texas up by 10 with 2 minutes left. You're feeling good.
Mm-hmm.
A minute later, they go and score, and you're like, we have to get, like, as long as this happens. But, man, Vanderbilt, if I'm a national championship caliber team.
You don't want to play them.
Yeah, you don't want to play them because they
not
don't live
scared
in
of
fear
nobody.
of anyone anymore.
It's finally like they've embraced. Well, it's not like, I don't know if it's necessarily they've embraced who they are, but they've got people in there who realize we can be giant killers. Nobody expects anything from us. Let's just go out and play and try to play spoiler. And the fact that everybody's embracing it and they're out there to do it, it's fun to watch.
Honestly, had they not those back-to-back losses on the road to Georgia State and Mizzou make no sense to me now. Like that should have legitimately been their first loss.
Yeah.
In my estimation, it should have been. But maybe if they don't lose those back-to-back games, then Alabama doesn't restart them. But 5-3, they're about to play Auburn on the road, a game they should win.
Yeah.
Now, I know Auburn just beat Kentucky and beat them pretty good, but Auburn is not good.
I don't trust you. I don't
Auburn's
trust Auburn
not good.
or you freeze.
Kentucky's not good at all.
No.
SEC Shorts had it right today when
There was that cat fight.
they're like just a little like slap fight. That's what that was. It was dead on. So yeah, between Auburn and South Carolina, they can get a win, and they've got LSU and Tennessee to close it out. So that'll be a lot harder. But I wouldn't bet against them if I were either of those teams.
No, you can't sleep on them. But
No, you can't sleep on them at all.
Yeah,
you absolutely can't sleep on them. All right, Garrett, you want to talk about it?
Yeah, we talk about it.
You want to talk about it?
Let's talk about
I mean,
it.
you okay talking about it?
I am okay talking about
You're
it.
okay talking about it.
I am.
I don't want to throw you back into your trauma.
I'm good.
I'm not putting you back in the shit if I don't have to. But you're good.
I'm good.
You were prepared.
I told you. I
Yeah.
told you what was going to happen. I took A&M straight up.
You did.
That was inevitable. It was coming. I think that you had 2 back-to-back rivalry games. It was going to catch up with you. I think, honestly, the game plan and Mike Elko, what they were able to do at halftime was remarkable. Le'Veon Moss has been a problem for everybody, and LSU's defense had no answer for him. And then the adjustment to go in and put Marcel Reed in was remarkable because LSU had no answers. They weren't expecting that. You completely took away Whit Weeks. He could not do anything on defense. The crazy thing to me was hats off to the defensive adjustments, but if you go back and look, it was about late in the second quarter, and LSU loses their left tackle, Garrett Dellinger. He goes down. His backup comes in. He was getting ate up by Turner and that defensive line. Scorton, all of them were just feasting on him. And I don't know if anybody has done this. I'd be interested to see. If you go back and look at the number of snaps taken in the second half by Garrett Nussmeier, where I don't think he ever had time to plant his feet once and throw the football. Like every throw was on the run. He was super inaccurate through the 3 costly interceptions. And once he threw that first one, you could tell the momentum shifted in that stadium. LSU and A&M was able to capitalize. I did not like how you could tell early on, like neither team could really. The battle was won in between the 20s. Like once everybody got into the red zone, neither offense could really do anything. But at the same time, like it was big player bust. LSU couldn't get their rushing game established. And hats off to A&M, man. That is a real football team. That was a hell of an environment. That was the best sports experience I've ever had in my life. You
already bought into the Mike Elko line.
Yes.
This is a real program.
No, it really is. Like he said, I'm so glad he said that too. Like that quote was one of the best quotes I've ever seen. It's authentic. And the crazy thing for me, I thought about this driving home so that was only the second time I've ever watched LSU play in person. And both times, dude, Colin Klein was the offensive coordinator who torched them. Because I watched them play in that Texas Bowl where K-State just annihilated them. And then Colin Klein did the same thing here with that offense. You give him a mobile quarterback. It was cool. It was just awesome. I think the blackout, they nailed that. All around, like that was A&M's. They're real. Like that's not a fluke. Like they are a really damn good football team.
They are quite good. I can speak to this because I've watched most every A&M game since 1988.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I was like, and maybe some before that I just don't remember.
Right.
Because I was distracted because, Thundercats was also on. Right.
Oh, yeah.
But I was young. What are you supposed to do when you're 22? No. No. But because I was a kid. But I can tell you that this team resembles, in the style they play, the R.C. Slocum teams way more. Now, granted, they're not running the option anymore or anything like that, but they are big, strong, fast on defense.
They are physical, too.
They will. Shamar Turner, I'll just tell you, total punk. But if you're an A&M, he's your punk. Mm-hmm. Everybody needs one.
Yep.
Everybody needs one. Baylor's is Matt Jones. You need a guy who is your, enforcer. Well, look, like a hockey enforcer. Mm-hmm. That's the hockey enforcer is a punk.
Yep.
The goon. Like, that's why they call him that. Shamar Turner is the goon. And
they had a little pregame scuffle with him and everything.
Yeah, he did that, and I'm not saying go commit penalties like he did. That was dumb. But you can commit a penalty if you can make up for it with 3 good plays, mm-hmm. which he did 10 good plays. He was in the backfield all the time.
Yeah.
You
talk about what really from the punk standpoint on the hit on Nussmeier or
yeah.
Okay, I get it.
Well, and then the other, he got in 2 different scuffles.
Yeah,
right?
He got 2 scuffles, but I know you're not supposed to touch the quarterback, but Nussmeier flopped bad on that. That was he sold it. Hats off to him, but I think that was more so. It was a stupid play, but I understand where Turner was coming from with it.
Yeah. Okay.
But because also they had a pass interference on that same play, so regardless, they were going to get A&M was going to get hit. But yeah, I think you need some of that. I didn't really mind that. I think that was more funny on Nussmeier flopping.
Yeah, but I do. I do think that some of it was a bit excessive, mm-hmm. right? But they overcame all of it, and then they overcame they took the lead and then almost gave it back, but then shut it down again.
Yeah.
LSU, 2 things have to happen for them. Most importantly, over everything, they've got to figure out how to defend a running quarterback. And
yeah.
you would think that after practicing against one of the greatest college running quarterbacks
you would think
of all time,
yeah,
that they would maybe have a handle on it, but maybe they got PTSD from practice.
I don't know what it is, but the crazy thing to me too is you would think after losing what was supposed to be your best player on defense, you would only get worse. I think they've gotten better since Harold Perkins has gone out, which is weird, but they still haven't been able to figure out how to identify and stop a mobile quarterback. And it was once Reed came in, it was just over. That first run, you could tell LSU was just caught like deer in headlights. They had no answer. And I mean, hats off to him, man. He was remarkable. I'm interested to see how they play that going forward. If you use the 2 quarterback system or is situational, but it's a good problem to have if you're A&M.
Yeah. I don't think I'm still bullish on Connor Wegman.
He's good.
I think he's a good player. I just think that he's got to be in a situation where he's got wide receivers. Jade Walker, Cyrus Allen, Noah Thomas.
Mm-hmm. He just doesn't have an Everett Stewart.
No, he doesn't have an Evan Stewart. He doesn't have a Kyron Lacey.
Right.
They don't have a Terry Bussey's their burner, but he's a true freshman.
He's a true freshman. He's going to be really good.
Yeah, but they need guys who are going to run past people for him.
He doesn't have that.
And because he does not have the escapability that Reed has. And so if they can play him with dropping everybody into coverage, that extra guy's probably going to give him problems just because they don't have somebody who can fight through a double team, like Kyron Lacey can, or can run past people like Armstrong can, or Hilton, who's back for the first time, and you could tell he was rusty, but God, I mean, I just think
his timing was off.
Yeah, but they'll get there. They'll get there. And that's something that's scary for the rest of LSU's schedule is hey, wait till this guy, Hilton clicks in, Chris Hilton. Yeah, and there's C.J. Daniels wasn't even playing, right?
Yeah, he got banged up. I think it was like the first or second quarter he got hurt and went out.
Yeah, so like he was banged up going in, like he was questionable, and then I think he was like, no, I'm not missing this game. And then, when
Just non-factor.
Yeah, when you're not a factor, like you got to take him out. And that wasn't really the problem in the first half.
No.
But they have to figure out a way to make that running game better. Now, it has been, but A&M just shut them down. And it shut down most teams running the ball this year. They made Florida just look ridiculous. There are just so many good things that they're doing. And I'm like, half of me is surprised, but half of me is not. Because talent was never the issue.
No.
Talent was never the issue. They had big-time recruiting classes, even keeping, losing the top end of those, the Walter Nolans and Evan Stewart. They still had a bunch of guys who were 4 stars. Like, their lowest guys were high 3-star guys. So if you go and coach them up and then add some transfers,
Scorton?
Jabre Barber.
Yeah.
You add him – that's a worker bee that's going to help you. The tight ends that they added, fit perfectly in the system. When you add those kind of guys, the center from Utah, that really good players, then that understand that, not everybody has to be a star, then you have a team that goes together. And Le'Veon Moss takes a step because he buys into the culture. Amari Daniels takes a step because he buys into the culture and has an opportunity because Reuben Owens got hurt, which was really scary for the Aggies when that happened. But now, if you went and told somebody who watched that team, hey, would you believe the guy that wanted to be their starting running back got hurt in training camp and isn't there? They'd be like, you mean Moss wasn't supposed to be the starting running back?
That's what I kept thinking. Watching Moss torch LSU's defense, I was just sitting there like, how is he the backup? How lucky are they to be that deep that this is your backup who would probably be starting on 75 to 80% of the rosters across the nation? That's an incredible luck by them. And especially you bring up, they did address the tight end room in the portal, but at the same time, I think A&M needs an elite tight end to help them go to the next level. They've had a couple of them in the past that they've lost to the NFL, but I think that's one area that they can improve on. I was really impressed with the adjustments of their offensive line. If you go the first half, LSU's defensive line started to control and take over. They were really honing in on Wigman. And then the offensive line stepped up. And obviously it helped with Reed's ability, but I think that watching that line get gut checked and step up the way they did in the second half was really impressive for them as well.
Yeah, Jack mentioned something Connor Wegman needs his Mike Evans, right?
Absolutely,
he needs that guy.
Yes.
Marcel Reed doesn't necessarily need that guy.
Does he make it happen?
Well, I mean, you also have to commit a defender who's now in charge of watching him. And even when LSU did that,
didn't matter.
It didn't matter because he was so locked in. And the 4 touchdowns in the first 4 drives, they scored on all 5 drives.
It's ridiculous.
That last drive that LSU had where they felt like they needed to do something, you just tell that they were absolutely out of gas.
Well, to me, it was over. That game ended when Torian York got the 3rd interception. There was 6 minutes left in the game. It was over at that point. LSU couldn't do anything. The only, their offense I would commend Kyron Lacy. He kept fighting. He wanted the ball. He was not intimidated. That environment got to them. It did. I don't think anybody, if they try to deny it, it definitely got to them. Lacy was the only one that wasn't affected. And there was a couple of times where you could see Nuss making poor decisions, where he tried to force the ball to Mason Taylor that was dropped for a touchdown where Kyron Lacy was open underneath. Then there was also pass interference that they never called. There were a couple of underthrown balls there at 2. And then in the second half, Nuss could not get anything going to the outside when he was trying to make the out throws, the 15-yard out throws and stuff. It was not there. But A&M was just a better team. They were all 3 phases of the game. Ramos could not kick a field goal to save his life. You had 2 costly missed field goals there. They were out. LSU was out-coached, outplayed, out-talented, outmatched. It was all Aggies, man. It was fun. It was a hell of an environment.
I'm getting excited for. I was already excited for A&M and Texas to play again.
I am pumped for that, and I've talked to you I've probably watched 3 of those ever. I'm excited for that game.
Yeah,
now.
I saw Landry Locker from Sports Radio 610 in Houston, who's a big Texas guy, saying a friend of mine texted me and said that is Texas and A&M a night game? He's like, I certainly hope not. Like, oh, no.
Oh, it's going to be.
It's a night game. It will be a night game on Saturday, November 30th. It will absolutely be a night game. There's no more of that game getting kicked to 11 o'clock in the morning because they're both in the Big 12 or SWC. That game will be at night on a Saturday and probably against two teams that are 10-1.
No, it will. And I was thinking about this, so I want your opinion. So I feel like I was thinking about that matchup coming up. Do you think we are on what could potentially be the best decade? Well, I guess we need to see it played yet. But I think A&M and Texas, I think it helped with them not playing for the past 13 years because both of them have built to where they're taking advantage of their resources. Like they have taught like power programs. I feel like we could be setting up for the best decade of Texas A&M right now because of the NIL, and everything going into it. I could be totally wrong, but I feel like we're setting up for something special here.
Yeah, no, I'm here for it. I'm here for it all.